afternoon and welcome to Perth, a dynamic and thriving city, home to the Swan River and some of Australia's most pristine and stunning coastline. We're here for round 5 of the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship, with the action taking place at Barbagallo Raceway, located 50 kilometres north of the city. This is the final day of the Perth Super Night, with practice and qualifying not too far away here on Fox Sports. Then, as the sun sets later here in the west, we'll turn on the lights to go night racing. Let's kick off all of the action today with the historic touring car cities. A very good afternoon to Matt Nolte.
And good afternoon to you, Jess. How good was the night racing here last night? But day number 3 kicks off this afternoon with the historic touring cars out in the circuit. Andy Jones alongside me. Now, if you're a local from Perth, they are called clouds above the track. We don't see them too often. A little thing called rain happened this morning. Just blew the dust off the track here earlier today, but looking good for a big afternoon. Already a nice crowd setting up on the hill here, ready for the Perth Super Night. Afternoon, Andy.
Afternoon to you too, Nolts. And that was delivered like a true local.
Absolutely.
Just selling the dream.
I wake up this morning at 6 o'clock and thought, what's that noise outside? It was rain. None of that today, though. Greg Freeman will start out of pole position alongside Brian Bondi, Graham Woolhouse and Ken Badger starting on that second row. Looking down to the Mini out of position number 8. The not Valiant, in fact, the two-door Galaxy starting out of position number 9. We'll get some shots today during this race. Robert Conklin starts out of 11. John Bondi out of 14th. Keep an eye on him. Grandel Beavis out of 15. Down to Gary Edwards. Trevor Fairs out of 21. Ken Waller down there in 26. Laurie Lapsley, the Jags that came to a stop pretty much 100 metres apart yesterday, starting on the near back row. And our former race leader, pole position man, Aldo Di Pioli, starting out of 27th for this race. That car retired yesterday, so keep an eye on him charging through this field.
Car 31, Bob O'Neill. He'll be lining up just at the end of the braking zone on the run down into turn 7. Such a large field of historic touring cars here in Perth.
Let's head down to pit lane and say a very good afternoon to Kylie King.
G'day folks. As you mentioned, Aldo Di Pioli starting at the rear of the grid in that beautiful 69 Chev Camaro. The problem yesterday was in a race winning position, but it was an electrical fault at the time. They weren't quite sure what it was, so when in doubt, pull it out. You've got to look after these old girls, so watch him claw his way through this one.
Thank you, KK. Down the lane, just find his position right on the entry point into turn number 7. Really shows you how it goes downhill onto the main straight. Grid position vacant on that second row as well, so we'll keep an eye on that. Man with the green flag waiting for the final car to lock into position. Another race still to come later today with a bit of a handicap situation for that race.
Green
10
flag.
laps, and we are set to go. Race number 3 of the historic touring cars. Keep an eye on that HQ Monaro on the right-hand side of screen, known for laying down plenty of rubber around this 2.4 kilometre Barbagallo Raceway. Up come the revs. And here comes the first race of the day here at the Perth Super Night event. And everybody gets away. We'll keep an eye on that Chevy Camaro of Aldo Di Pioli's trying to weave his way through the field already. It's down to turn number 1 for the first time. Goes Freeman, and already the HQ snapping sideways on the exit of 2.
Brian Bondi got the jump there for me, but it was the second phase of getting off the line. The big Monaro just lit up those rear tyres and went nowhere, unfortunately. And that allowed Freeman to be able to hold that inside line. And look at the gap he's already got within the space of 4 corners.
Down on 2. The back straight past the old pits. He comes to one of many minis in the field we have here today. The 99 of Lance Stannard heading down. Oh, big move from the Tirana, climbing the curb. That was awkward for Grant Johnson in the 27, the XU1 Tirana. Across the top of the hill we go. Got up on 2 wheels twice.
That was a big move, but he's getting swamped now by all that horsepower in the Monaro. Grant Johnson, not unfamiliar in the racing world, been around for quite a long time.
He's done a few laps around here as well. He's going to lose a position or not. Down into the final turn, sweeps around the outside of the little Capri as they enter the main straight to complete the first lap. There's that big Galaxy, parking it right down the middle and making it very hard for anybody to go around. And here's Di Pioli on the charge, car 96 from 27th on the grid right now. He's made up several positions on the first lap and still a long way to play. This is lap 2 of 10. 13 of row has come to a stop, and that looks like it's just down next to our commentary position. It is, so it's fair way off the circuit here. We'll take no further part in this race.
I don't think that'll cause any concern for race control. No need, I wouldn't think, to throw a safety car to retrieve that car. It's just a long, long way off to the inside.
Down the back straight we go again. So Johnson heading downhill towards the final turn. Gilfus ahead. Nice three-car scrap in the early stages. Freeman, 0.8 of a second back to Woolhouse. Brian Bondi in the first. The HQ Monaros runs in third position to start the third lap. And already big margins to the tail of the field. We will see lap traffic during this 10-lap race.
Yeah, and as we just swept across there at the final corner, you could see Rowe parked all the way on the infield. We have received word from race control to say that we will continue to stay green here, no concerns. And
change the front as well now as Woolhouse took the lead going down into turn number 1. So he makes up a spot now with the Mustang. So just like we saw back in the 60s, Mustang versus Camaro. Across the backside of the circuit we go. 3 laps in. Keep an eye on that number 96. He's up to 9th position, AJ. 18 positions, if you don't mind.
And has also set the fastest lap of the race on that last lap while he passed 6 cars. That's impressive. We know he's got plenty of pace. What's happening here? Arm out the window. Who was that for?
That's the Capri. They're slowing down and dropping down to Gilfus. So I knew what was going on then because everybody was slowing up. He hit the hand out the window to indicate he's got an issue. Past me on this side. He continues to drop down the order. John Bondi goes up into 5th place now. We're in car. This is that mighty V8 rev hard down pit straight here at Barbagallo Raceway. And there's Di Paoli up to 6th position now and on the charge. So we start lap number 4. Now the 59 coming to a stop in the pits. Front of our commentary box position. Trying to find his way back into the paddock. Here's the replay of the start. One of the Tiranas really slow away there in the mid-pack. And there's Di Paoli. Watch him now. The bright orange Camaro. He'll just buzz his way past the Volvo, Andy Jones' vehicle of choice this weekend. Here it is again, from Bondi's perspective. Perhaps second gear. And nowhere to go, is he? To fan the throttle not once but twice.
Oh, he hesitated there whether or not he needed to shift from 2nd to 3rd for a minute and then decided, yep, you know what, I'm going to run out of RPM here and he'll sit on the limiter too long. So he ended up grabbing 3rd, but it did hurt his momentum in his run. And here's his replay of Brad Johnson down into turn 6. He was all over everything except for the racetrack to be able to get that job done. That was cool. Little Tirana bouncing around.
It's from Bondi heading down, so he's picking off some cars. And that locking up ahead. Down to turn number 6. Here's the replay of the change the lead with Woolhouse. Took it down into turn number 1.
Oh, that was weird. That looked like it happened far too easily for Woolhouse. Almost like Freeman was thinking, I'm doing this too easy out in front here. Let's make a race of it.
Yep.
Or did he have an issue of some description?
Looked too easy for mine.
Didn't it? It had that feel about it.
Here comes Johnson in the Tirana. Looking for the move now. Brian Bondi, the Bondi brothers, how they're both in HQ Monaros. This time he's gone too wide. He went too deep on the first lap. He's just going to nip away at the heels of this HQ Monaro heading down the back straight. So we're halfway home. Race number 3 in the historic touring cars as part of the Perth Super Night.
Johnson Nelly made contact with the back of Bondi there. He did a really, really good job to avoid hitting the back of that car.
And it's Di Paoli slowing again. It appears. And Carlos was hesitating coming out the final turn. He's dropping again.
It is slowing, definitely.
Looking from Bondi, who protected the line going down past the old pits.
So what does this tell us? On the outside, on the run through turn 6, you're never going to get the job done there, but it does allow you to do the crossover and gives Paoli the opportunity to be able to get the over and under. But look at the horsepower from the Monaro. When he does get those rear wheels to perch into the road instead of firing the car sideways, it's actually got plenty of drive. He just doesn't do it very regularly.
Is there such a thing as too much horsepower?
No.
In this case, maybe. If you can't get it down to the track, no, you're right. Who am I kidding? Down to turn number 7. Here comes the leaders. Big margin back to Bondi, Johnson. John Bondi in 5th position. Di Paoli to 6th position now from 27th on the grid. Go back to Onofaro, who's been leading the mini charge this weekend. He's dropped back to 9th position. There's Di Paoli going for the shot now. The Tiranas menacing the Mini. Out of turn 7, just like that, we're 7 laps into this race. Down towards turn number 1, here comes the two-door Galaxy, and not the Valiant, as I so wrongly called it yesterday. The team applying a sticker to the front of that 222.
They've got a piece of race tape attached to the bonnet of that car, calling it the Foxtel Valiant. Or Galaxy. As you mentioned before, Nobs.
Combining cars.
I'm curious to know what's going on here with Di Paoli, because he's dropped off the back of John Bondi up ahead of him, but he hasn't pulled into the pit lane. He's gone past the entry twice now. Clearly has lost a lot of speed in that car, but he continues to run around just trying to greet that checkered flag. It's a weird one.
So this is Gary Crosswell in the Chevy Bel Air, heading down towards turn number 1. A lonely race back in 20th position at the moment, but a hint of smoke out the back of the Fresh Prince mobile, heading up towards turn number 3.
Certainly not the first historic touring car this weekend to be omitting a little bit of smoke. Can't help but feel like it won't be the last either.
I tend to agree. One more race still to come later today here on Fox Sports. Here come our leaders starting to pick their way through the traffic, and this is what we saw in race number 1, wasn't it? When Di Paoli had a 3-second margin and Freeman just reeled him in when the lap traffic boxed our race leader in at this part of the circuit on the very last lap.
Freeman's got past Woolhouse though and has disappeared into the distance, so there really was something weird going on there. If I had to pick it from here, I feel like possibly Freeman had a little bit of a gear shifting issue going on, and that's what it looked like on the run into turn 1. I said it very tongue-in-cheek that he was possibly thinking he wanted someone to race, but I doubt it. Race car drivers are not programmed that way. But whatever the issue was, it doesn't seem to be causing Freeman any problems now. A couple of licorice straps on the exit of turn 7 there, just as you can.
Why not? The lap cars ahead. Here comes the Jag. I stopped yesterday. Laurie Lapsley pulled up just about that spot, didn't he? Car number 8. Sister car marked just the right-hand side here. And here's the Mini. Somewhere in all this will be the race leader pretty soon. So we've got 2 laps to go. Race number 3 of the historic touring cars here today. Fastest lap of the race, 106.4 by our race leader. And doing it nicely by nearly 4 seconds in this race. Back to Woolhouse. Brian Bondi in 3rd. Johnson is 4th. And John Bondi is your top 5 on your leaderboard at the bottom left-hand side of screen.
Still seeing a couple of little remnants of the rain that we had this morning. You can see those little shiny patches on the circuit there. Interesting, you don't see that too often, particularly on a downhill run like that down the hill. Normally the water will run away and dry pretty quickly, so part of that will be off the back of the resurfacing of this new circuit here, and it just absorbing that water, and even you can see a little bit of wet verge there from where the bridge is casting a shadow. So it is actually new surface holding on to that water. We didn't get a lot of rain, but these guys will certainly dry it out, and by the time the supercars get out on track later today, that'll be all gone. Oh, a little moment here for the Corvette of Thierry Michaud. Trying to catch it.
A little big moment.
Catch it. Still catching it. And now he's got it.
Last lap for our leader as he comes up to Lapsley in the Mark II Jaguar down towards turn number 6, the Basin. Cold corner, as it's known historically here at Barbagallo Raceway. And he won't be caught in this one. He's just picking the lap cars off. There's a sea of traffic ahead, but he has a good margin to cover off Woolhouse. Be another race win for the Chevy Camaro.
Oh, look at this.
No. Have I spoken too soon?
So Freeman, on the final lap, has come up over the top of the hill and has been greeted by a historic touring car roadblock. He had nowhere to go.
And it's enough to get the win, though. Had that been another lap, he could have been in all kinds of trouble. No less than 5 cars right in front of our race leader and now race winner, Greg Freeman, in the Chevy Camaro, taking the win by just over 4 seconds for Woolhouse. Bondi will grab 3rd position. It's Brian Bondi in the HQ Monaro. Johnson will be 4th, and John Bondi completing the top 5. Controlled this race pretty much from the get-go and takes another win in front of his home fans at Barbagallo Raceway today. And still, they're taking the checkered flag back in the field. Several cars going 1 lap down, but Aldo Di Paoli driving the race there from 27th up to 6th place in the end behind our top 5. Onofaro, the best of the minis, back there in 7th. The Galaxy getting home for 8th position, and Stewie Young completing the top 10, but some 31 seconds behind, AJ.
Yeah, long way, and we'll continue back down. Dean Wisson was the first of the finishers that was 1 lap down. It was a pretty crazy race with a few little incidents going on throughout the event. Trevor Fairs in 21st, William Schipper finished 22nd, and Ken Waller in that beautifully turned out Volvo was in 24th position. Nice casual Saturday drive for the Volvo back there in 24th. We'll take a look at some highlights of race number 3, our first race of the day here at the Perth Super Night event. And there's Di Paoli charging his way through from the 14th row to finish in 6th position. And then there was that hesitation there. Do I grab another gear? Do I not? And that was Rowe. He exited, staged right on the run to the final corner. This little moment, again, was, I still can't put my finger on what's happened here, but ultimately looked like Freeman had some sort of issue on the run to turn 1. That allowed Woolhouse past, but they would eventually end up swapping those positions. Look at the fluid and smoke coming out of the back of that car.
Chevy Belair, that went for most of the race there too for Gary Crosswell, but he got the car home to finish in 20th. And that was to move for Thierry Michaud. That was 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 corrections on the exit of turn number 6 of the Basin. And this was our race leader coming up to 5 cars at the final turn to put them a lap down, but with a 5-second margin, wasn't too much a hindrance. He takes the win, his 2nd of the weekend, and 1 more to come for the historic touring cars. The win going to Freeman in race number 3 here today. They've been turned on the action since Thursday here, the local category. The historic touring cars were looking over towards the west coast of Australia from the Ava Strone Cam. Later on, those lights will come to life. This, the Perth Super Night event. We'll take a short break. After this, the East Coast Bull Bar Super Utes are on the circuit for race number 2 at Barbagallo Raceway.
Tonight in Perth, it's on again. Another supercars battle under lights. We'll remember some classic WA moments.
That's 250 kilometres an hour. I haven't seen where Scott Pye finishes. It's like Dukes of Hazzard stuff.
As well as reliving some recent years through team radio.
Copy, mate. Copy. All good. Head down. Nice and smooth.
We have another knockout qualifying session. And then we're going racing again. Under the Perth night sky, here at Barbagallo Raceway.
Colourful scenes as they make their way on cold tyres.
It's the Perth Super Night, live in HD and ad break free and race, right here on Fox Sports.